Good morning, manna gatherers. Here we are the day after Thanksgiving and just 2 days away from the first Sunday in Advent. Today's manna, of course, is brought to you by the letter K. Remember, we are spelling thanks, Thanks. And of course, there are only 2 books in the Bible that begin with the letter K. Do you know which 2 I'm talking about? Of course, 1st and 2nd Kings. I have chosen to be in 1st Kings 5 today, various reasons, but because in 2 specific ways, it reminds me of a few things that I am thankful for. I think you will recognize one of those things for which I am thankful immediately. On the reading of this 1st Kings, I'm going to read various verses from 1st Kings 5. You can go back and read the whole story in 1st Kings 5. Now King Hiram of Tyre sent his servants to Solomon when he heard that they had anointed him, Solomon, king in place of his father, David, for Hiram had always been a friend to David. Solomon sent word to Hiram saying, "You know that my father David could not build a house for the name of the Lord his God because of the warfare with which his enemies surrounded him, until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet. But now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side. There is neither adversary or misfortune. So I intend to build a house for the name of the Lord my God." And when Hiram heard the words of Solomon, he rejoiced greatly and said, "Blessed be the Lord today, who has given to David a wise son to be over his great people." So Hiram supplied Solomon's every need for timber and cedar and cypress. Solomon in turn gave Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat as food for his household and 20 cores of fine oil. Solomon gave this to Hiram year by year. So the Lord gave Solomon wisdom as he promised him. There was peace between Hiram and Solomon, and the 2 of them made a treaty. Obviously, I chose this text from 1 Kings 5 in part for my Hiram. I love my big Hiram, my husband Hiram, who together we have been given 3 little tiny blessings, Hiram, Clyde, Grady, and Obi. I am thankful for my little family of 5, but also for you Bible trivia people out there, tuck away 1 Kings 5 for your trivia night. You now know that Hiram is a biblical name, the name of the king of Tyre, who supplied King Solomon with all the building materials to build the temple of God in Jerusalem. That's a side note, really. Thankful for my family. I'm sure we all are thankful for our families, all the crazy and everything that comes with it. What I want us to focus on, though, for 1 Kings 5 today is not my relationship with Big Hiram and my 3 littles, but on the relationship between King Hiram of Tyre and King Solomon of Israel. And to allow or to let their relationship help us to be grateful for this great big world that is so beautifully made, so beautifully diverse, and interconnected in so many, many, many wonderful, wonderful ways. We are meant to be together, as I have often said. As the daughter of an army officer whose dad's job, the army, took us all around the world, I was blessed with so many firsthand experiences of all the beauty and around the world, all the beautiful and wonderful and very unique and interesting languages and cultures and traditions and even landscapes and people all around the world. I love our world, and I am so thankful for all the diversity around the world. And I continue to remain a very curious and lifelong learner of the world through travel and through friendships I have made through people throughout my life and through now my son's education, who they're beginning to discover the world is a lot bigger than just right here in South Carolina. In many ways, this story of Hiram and Solomon's friendship in 1 Kings 5 Makes me think of that first Thanksgiving when the pilgrims, the colonists, the settlers, and the native people came together to share one table. They came together to share a bountiful harvest, a meal, stories, and probably a lot of laughs as they both tried to navigate or bridge the communication gap between the two sets of people. It was a moment, a beautiful moment in history of peace between two people groups from worlds away that were brought together for the common good and celebration of everyone there. Of course, that peace did not last. It was a temporary peace, and a lot of sad and reprehensible history comes to pass for which our country bears very many and deep scars. But let's imagine together there was peace, a lasting peace. In fact, let's go as far as to imagine the peaceable kingdom of Isaiah 11. Go back and read about the peaceable kingdom in Isaiah 11, where the wolf shall lie down with the lamb. Let's imagine this peaceable kingdom both that was lasting both during the 17th century AD and the 10th century BCE, and even today in the 21st century when we've had moments of peace. Let's imagine there were peace between the kingdoms of Hiram and Solomon, and peace between the earliest settlers or the explorers and the native people of this country. Perhaps if that peace had extended beyond the lives of Hiram and Solomon, or beyond the first colonists and the Native Americans, then perhaps history would have been a little bit different. We know perhaps a peace that exists between a mutual respect and appreciation and a give and take collaboration that benefits all. Perhaps if that peace had extended beyond the 10th century AD and the 17th century, the 10th century BCE and the 17th century AD. That seems to be what was happening between Hiram and Solomon, a give and take collaboration that benefits all. And it was also the same way between those earliest settlers and the native people of this land, a give and take collaboration, cooperation that benefits all. And it happens today too. There is still, of course, work to be done. We're not living in a peaceable kingdom yet, but God's kingdom is here, right? So it is possible. But I am thankful for not only our beautiful and wonderful world, but I am especially thankful for those like Hiram and Solomon who strive to collaborate and to cooperate and who work tirelessly to usher in peace in this big global world. Because we must remember every day that the earth is the Lord's and all that is in it, the world and those who live in it. For the Lord has founded it on the seas and established it on rivers, as Psalm 24 says. This world is God's world. This world is God's world. And God means for us to live together in peace as we help one another. So let us together be thankful for the world, for all of creation, for all people, for all living and non-living matter, for God has made it all to be enjoyed by everyone. So let's not miss out on enjoyment in this world by squabbling and fighting. Let's remember that God made everything and God made everyone. And for that, let us be thankful and let us strive to live in relationships like Hiram's and Solomon's. I could go on and on about 1 Kings 5. There's so much to talk about in these verses. But I have reached my time. So I want to encourage you to go back and read Hiram and Solomon's story and take a look at the entirety of Isaiah 11 and Psalm 24. Those readings, these three readings together will lead you to be thankful. Thankful for this big, wide world, this big, beautiful, wide world, and that God has made for us to enjoy together, that God has made us to enjoy with one another. I will see you tomorrow for our last day of this Thanksgiving week morning manna.